So, David, I'm so sorry. I know we've had some technical difficulties, but where we left off was where Mary comes into your picture. Now, Mary is your beautiful wife. So, well, let's go.
Okay, so she she gave me some breakfast, and I left there, and I made a commitment to myself. I said, when I get back here, because I had to go that very day out to Chicago. When I get back here, I'm going to ask her for a date, and she'll probably tell me to get lost, but I've just got to. So I put that in mind. I was going to do that when I got back for Christmas. And that fall, I was dating a girl, also a secret. It was like a secret dating at the law school. A young lady that later became a federal judge, and she asked me to go to church. Okay, and it was interesting because I really, when I was in high school, I went to church, but it was more of a social thing
Hmm.
for me. I just went because my buddies were going, girls I liked were going. Um, I'd had a real experience with Christ when I was young, and I really was. I think I was a real Christian when I was a youngster, and I had just fallen away inside while still attending, but not really engaging.
Yeah.
Uh,
Being
with
there, but not there.
Yeah, right. Not really engaging, or maybe only engaging sometimes,
Hmm.
like, Christmas and Easter and at certain times when something would strike me. But in general, I wasn't living a Christian life or anything close to it. And I was living for myself. And this gal invites me to church, and we go to this church, and it's like some crazy liberal thing where there were women in leotards dancing in the aisles, and there was this woman giving a sermon about how it's very hard for her to accept Jesus. She's supposed to be the minister or something, I guess. And she says because he was a man. Like,
What year was this?
this was 1976
1976. You're in a church,
in Chicago
in,
on the campus. Yeah,
and this is supposed to be a Christian church
yeah. And
with a woman who doesn't believe she should worship Jesus because he was a man.
not a woman. She said you had to break through that obstacle. I mean, look, I'm just sitting there. I really didn't know hardly any theology at the time. I mean, really, I just knew, Jesus, we're worshiping Jesus. That's about all I knew, right? I really had not absorbed in church a lot of understanding of the theology, and I'm sure I knew the Apostles' Creed, and I knew some scriptures. That when I was a little boy, there was a lot of memorization in that church, so I'd memorized a lot of stuff as a little kid, but I wasn't like using any of that in my life.
Hmm.
So anyway, so we get outside and we start walking back, and I said, well, that was a little unusual, or something like that. She said, oh yeah, that was wacky. She said, look, she said, the thing about Jesus is that he had everything. He was God. He was in heaven. He had a perfect life with no pain or suffering, and he gave it all up to come here and die a horrible death on the cross for you.
And this is what she told you.
Guess that's what she told me.
After all that you saw
Yeah.
and the kind of church she took you to.
Yeah, but she didn't know. I guess she didn't know much
Even
about
she didn't know.
yeah, what it was doing. It was on campus. It said it was a church. I don't know. It said it was a Christian church.
Sorry, I thought your story was going to go in a whole different direction where she's going to be like, well, don't you agree? And you're like, oh.
I mean, like, it would have been, she was pretty, so it would have been tough. But, you know, um, so I couldn't get that out of my head. I could not get what she said to me out of my head. It was like I had never heard that just the way it was. And I went home and um, I started reading the Bible after that. I remember I was reading from the book of Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, and I was just reading, and I remember crying when I was reading it, and it was like, golly, where has all this been in my life? And so this lady was a very good, but she was in love with another guy, so it wasn't going anywhere like romantically, but this relationship was a very close friendship. Okay. And so we had a lot of good, deep conversations. And so Christmas time rolled around. So I get home, drive home from Chicago, back at my parents' house, upstairs in my parents' bedroom where the telephone was. And I'm sitting right next to it. And I'm like, okay, David, you know this phone number. Are you going to dial it? So I pick it up and dialed, I think it was CU8 8729. I think that's it. Because the first two numbers, it's the second the last two numbers, you triple them and then you get the first two numbers. So it was 29, 87, 29. So I dial it, and I don't know if she answered or who answered in the family. In those days, people didn't have their own
caller ID or
they didn't have
anything.
their own phone. You have a phone, like it's the family phone, because so everybody's talking, and you get on the phone and people say, well, you get off the phone, I'm waiting for a call from somebody, that
Yep.
kind of thing. You need to get off. You've been on the phone too long. Anyhow, so she gets on the phone, and I said, hi, I don't know if you remember me, but this is David Mullen. And I met you back in September. And she said, oh, I remember you. And I was like, oh. And she sounded like, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, kind of thing. It was,
Yeah.
oh. So I asked her to go see a show. And I picked out the show. Like, I never went to plays or anything. I was like a real, at that point in my life, I hadn't been to a play. I mean, since like maybe something in school or something,
Mm-hmm.
And so there was this thing in the paper, in the Philly paper, it said Equus, and it showed a picture of a horse. So I thought, oh, maybe that's about horse racing or, like My Friend Flicka or, National Velvet, something like that, right? So you get down there, and it's this crazy play where this guy and his father would say to him, he's like really strict, and he'd say, do you receive my meaning? That's like how he's like instead of just saying, hey, do you get it? He'd say, do you receive my meaning? Anyway, he was really strict, and the kid was just beaten down. And the story was about how the kid like wanted to be a horse, so he could run away, And he has like at one point in the play, like he runs out on the stage naked, with a horse's head. I mean, it's this crazy intense thing. Like you would never take a girl on a first date to something like this. I mean, it was so offensive. It was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, we got out of there, and we went and had coffee or something afterwards, and but she was still sweet.
Yeah.
She was still sweet to me. She didn't like say, what is wrong with you?
Um, my home's over there.
All right. Like, let's go back to this. Of course, we were down Center City, so we had to take the train, the L, which today, I would never take the L from that old neighborhood to the center of the city. But
Oh.
anyway, we took the L and we went home. We had a wonderful time together, and we walked all the way. You know, it's a good long walk from the L station to her house, and so we walked, and we kissed goodnight and all that, and then I just called her every day and asked her out, and we went. And then I did a better job
Of picking the next flick?
on the next things. Yeah, we went out every night to something or other. I know we went one night to Greenwood Dairies and had ice cream, and we went to the symphony one night and heard the symphony play, and we went out to this art museums and stuff. I mean, we did all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we had a wonderful time.
Huh.
And she took me to church, and I can't tell you what day it was, whether it would have been the week before Christmas Eve or exactly where it all fit in there, and when my Christmas vacation started and ended. I can't tell you. Anyway, I went to her church. Now, I had never set foot in that church.
I paused. Jazz David,
Yeah.
do you want me to just flip your phone over?
Yeah.
No, just so in case it comes on, so
Oh, yeah.
there's no messages.
Yeah.
No, just for you. Yeah.
So, but I had played basketball in the gym of that church many times. Okay. But just to give you an idea of like me, I mean, okay, so it's a place you play basketball, wasn't. So I go in there, and my parents in the church, and I think it's because their whole history of everything that had happened, they always sat at the back of the church. I mean, literally.
Your parents.
Yeah, the back row, and I sat with my parents in the back row, right? And in the church, I mean, in their church, you would kneel a lot, so you were on the kneeler and you're doing the book of conference. Anyway, the Flanagans, Mary's family, sits right on the front row of the church, like right on. I mean, I hadn't been on the front row of a church since I was like a little boy in the junior choir type thing.
Yeah.
Like you were a little kid and they had those little white things on. I mean, like I was not a front. Anyway, so I'm in the front row of the church with the Flanagans, and the music's playing and everything. Well, I mean, I was completely sober. I look up, and Jesus is there right in front of me, up in the window, looking at me. Now, I don't think anybody else could see him, but I could see him.
So you're not talking about like a cross with an invitation. You're saying
he's looking at me alive.
through an exterior window.
Yeah, through like some kind of stained glass window that they had in that church, but it was like he's there. I mean, he's not like there's not a representation of
Yeah.
Like this is
vivid.
Is him. This is an actual physical human form that's moving and speaking. Oh, and look, people may think I'm nuts, but I'm not nuts. I never had anything like this happen to me any other time in my life, anything even approaching it, okay? Nothing. I have no other witness to anything like this. But it is looking directly at me, and Jesus just says to me, he says, David, I love you. And that was it. Disappeared. And that was the whole thing. But I'm sitting there, and nobody else saw it. And I told Mary about it afterwards. And I was just like overwhelmed. I mean, the king of the universe just said, I love you to me. Which, I mean, I wasn't, one good thing about all my background in retrospect was I realized I was a sinner, okay? That I was a wicked person, that I, was selfish and like irredeemably selfish, and had, hurt everybody in my family with my selfishness and my willfulness and my, my way or the highway all the time.
Mm-hmm.
and, just basically doing whatever the heck I wanted to do. And so I understood that. I mean, I did have but Jesus didn't say repent, or I'm going to wipe you out. But that was a big deal. That was a huge deal in my life in changing the direction of my life. And of course, Mary was a devoted Christian. And it's weird. One of my buddies, it snowed. I remember it was the day it snowed, and I went out and shoveled snow that vacation. And I was outside shoveling snow, and one of my old friends came by, Larry Galinsky, and everybody called him Polak. And I was always glad to see Polak. I mean, we lived on the same street our whole lives. And he said, Moon, I hear you're dating Mary Flanagan. I said, yeah. He said, you better watch out. She'll convert you. That's what he said to me. And I didn't say anything back, but I was thinking to myself, that would be good.
Yeah.
Because I need to change. I need to change. And so we just kept seeing each other. I started being a much more serious Christian. I wasn't fixed, I wasn't like, all my sins went away in one day and I just stopped doing everything bad that I did, or, broke all my bad habits at once. But I changed. I really changed. And if anything, it made me a much more serious student, and even harder worker. And I think more caring towards other people, including my family,
So, sorry, I want to go back to,
Yeah.
so you see Jesus. He tells you he loves you.
Yeah.
In that moment, was there any flashes like through your thought process that either flushed through of whatever you may have done in the past or what you're trying to look for in the future? Was like, was there anything
Jesus is real and he loves me. That was what it was. Because look,
but what
I'm
faith
a
did,
very logical guy.
Mhm.
I'm a very logical guy.
But what did
want
it give
facts.
you? Like, because it gave, other than that, yes, he loves you and like he is real. But what else did it give? Did it give you a sense of peace?
Yes, and warmth and purpose, and that I was truly loved. I mean, look, I had experienced human love, and I was a lousy lover in return. I think like every girlfriend I had loved me more than I loved them, even though I thought I loved them.
Mm-hmm.
But my actions would show otherwise.
Yeah.
So, but I was just overwhelmed by that love, by that's just God. Jesus loves me. I mean, it's so sustaining. It just makes everything different.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the whole world different. And everything. I mean, you look at everybody else differently then.
Yeah.
If Jesus loves you. I mean, you're not trying to prove to everybody that you're better than them. You don't really care if everybody thinks you're cool.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing because you've got this connection to the creator of the universe, and it's a real thing. And I mean, how little then are your ambitions to be where you're trying to make other people think highly of you?
Yeah.
you know, by saying, well, you know, I'm doing really well in law school and I'm going to make a whole lot of money and, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of crap. I mean, I mean, it was just, and Mary was such a humble person herself. I mean, here she was, so beautiful and so talented. I mean, she was an artist. She was an incredible athlete. I mean, she was on the swim team at Penn, you know. I mean,
Wow.
she was a great athlete, sprinter, and she was, you know, she could swim long distances. Like she swam the entire inlet from Ocean City over to Strathmere. In Ocean City, I mean, you know, across the ocean. I mean, you know, up that inlet water. I mean, you got to be strong just to even maintain your
Yeah.
heading that way. You
Hmm.
know, with the currents and all. I mean, she was just really something. So, you know, just extraordinary. And yet she was humble and gentle and just, you know, just a loving, sweet person. But that was because she was a Christian.
Yeah.
You know, she was different than other women. And I'm not saying, I'm not criticizing any of the girls I dated. Not a single one of them do I have anything bad to say about. But it was different, not just in degree, but in kind.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it was deeper.